Hey guys, it's Rich with your Monday Spot on the Pagan Perspective. This week's topic comes from Rachel, and it will be in the bottom bar because I keep on tripping up on my words in this video. This week we're talking about soft polytheism, and should the term be changed to something else, such as Facet-Theism, Jungian theism, Archetypal-Theism. And I kind of want to explain how I understand soft and hard polytheism for a second, and then I'll go into everything else. For me, soft polytheism, as I understand it, is that all goddesses come from one goddess, all gods come from one god, and when looking at it from a soft polytheist view, is that we see different sides of that god or goddess. And I can really identify with that. And I can also identify with the hard polytheist view, which is seeing each deity as their own separate entity, with their own personalities, their own spheres of influence, their own ways of interacting with other deities. For me, changing the definition of soft polytheism really depends on who you talk to and who you're describing your practice to, whether or not they know what soft polytheism is, or whether they know of Carl Jung's work, if you're talking archetypal or Jungian, or even talking Facet-Theism, if they understand what that is. Definitions aren't easy to change, and I don't know if it will ever fully change into something that is accepted by the masses. For me, it goes back to labels. And we all know how I feel about labels. For me, anytime I choose a label, I find myself closing my mind to other things. I find myself being put in a box that I created for myself and not seeing the outside influences, not seeing the other points of view. So for me, I really cannot put a label on myself. It's something that holds me back in my practice. I know that Megan and Brendan disagree with me on this point, and I enjoy seeing their video on the disagreement of it. And I see their point, that whenever you pick a label for yourself, if it's something that you believe, and you are willing to change that label, if it no longer identifies who you are, then go for it. But for me, it's very hard to change that label for myself. So, deciding whether or not hard or soft polytheism, and what it means to me, and whether or not soft polytheism should change, is really a question of labels, and if I really want to be putting those labels on me. I'm still getting used to the label of polytheist in my practice. Going from a monotheist point of view to a polytheist point of view recently, it's very difficult to make that change, especially whenever I've been on that road for the better part of about 15 years, 16 years-ish. It's very difficult for me. So even putting the label of polytheist in my practice is kind of shock to the system. It's kind of a new idea for me, at least in my practice. So deciding whether or not to redefine soft polytheism as something else is really something that I can't put much stake in as far as my practice, only because I'm still getting used to the polytheist aspect of it. And I see both sides of it, so I don't even know, after a couple years of being in this part of my practice, if I'd even choose a hard or soft polytheist label. So for me, it really still comes down to labels and what they mean for me. So as it sits for right now, getting used to the term polytheist in general and not having to worry about facet theist, Jungian theist, archetypal theist isn't really a point of something that I need to focus on at this point in my life. I really have to discover more of what being a polytheist means to me, and whether or not other deities will make themselves known in my practice. And if they do, what that means for me, what other changes might happen within my life, and how I will react to them. So I hope this has been helpful. I can't really speak much more on the subject because, again, coming to a polytheist outlook is still something very new to me. It's kind of exciting, kind of scary, and I really don't know what's going to be around the next bend in my practice as far as definition-wise. So, hopefully this has been somewhat helpful. Maybe it's been a little bit of a noodle scratcher for you as much as it has for me. It's taken me about like 20 takes on this video because it was very hard for me to tackle this subject. But I will see you all next week. We have a fun topic of sorts to discuss. So until then, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.